Welkom terug allemaal, of welkom. The next talk will be Marcel van der Velde about social engineering. Are there any English? Okay, so if you can do the talk in English. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to Marcel van der Velde. He's going to talk about social engineering. His talk is called Trust Me, I'm a Social Engineer.
Yeah, welcome everybody. My name is Marcel and I'm a social engineer. This is what I do mostly. I talk in front of groups of people like you as ordered by the judge. Social engineering, that's a thing. You have some trouble telling the truth sometimes. And I can do this talk in English or in Dutch. I told Dimitri, well, I'm lazy today, let's do it in Dutch. He said, no way. No, you're not going to get away with that, so it's English. So I have to translate some things for you because the slides, they are in Dutch. I made them in Dutch and I was too lazy to put them in English. There's a disclaimer, that's an English word, so that's a good start. All the examples that I will be talking about today, they are real, but as a good social engineer, I twist the facts every which way I choose to obfuscate any innocent people to, not have them in trouble. Okay, let's see. I did this talk some while ago in Utrecht. And this was for marketeers. And there's a lot of similarities between marketeers and social engineers. But frankly, we can't stand each other. So this is really a thing. Yeah. The thing with social engineers is that if you meet a marketeer, you see all the dirty tricks. So you don't like them instantly. This was really funny because in Utrecht, this was the security beurs. It's a market, and there was, I think, 1,000 marketeers in the room, and I started with this talk. We had a blast, really. By the way, the reason my microphone is quite loud is I have a cold. I have had a cold for the past 3 days, so I'm very happy that there is some way to not lose my voice today. I hope it will be working for the entire talk. If not, we can continue at the bar with some drinks. So, I spoke about this. It's in English or in Dutch, whatever you choose. And unfortunately, you chose English. So about social engineering, it's a bit of a misunderstood profession. This is what I think I do. Really, I did this in red teams for several companies, and my job was to actually break into facilities and try to get stuff done. Try to get users to do really, really stupid things. And I managed quite well. So when you get out of one of the facilities, I will give you examples about it later. You really feel like James Bond. Other people think other things about this. So, society, they don't really agree with the James Bond stuff. They say, well, yeah, I think you're a scam artist. And that's what you are. That's what you do. Let me see if I can just get this microphone a little less, because it's starting to sound a bit weird. Is this better? Yeah, okay. I think this is the maximum I can get from it. My wife, she has an opinion too. She's right over there, for people who don't know. I have to admit that in the past few years, she has been attending these lectures as well, so she's more into the first slide now. That's good. Another problem you have as a social engineer is your friends. They don't trust you anymore. As soon as they figure out what you do, it's a bit like this. So you have to be really careful. And you have to be really frank about what you do and try to be clear about your boundaries. Gets you in a lot of trouble. If you tell people, well, I'm not social engineering you, I wouldn't do that. Especially when they're in marketing, that doesn't work. They see all the dirty tricks. So what do I really do? I work for the government. After working in several commercial companies doing pen testing, supporting pen testing, red teams, I turned to the government. They wanted to hire me. Okay. So I do some research, I do some lectures, and I wasn't ordered by the judge, but I just like to do this. I also like the research. I do a lot of reading, and I like to read, so that's always a very good thing. And whenever I have the time, I get some books, and it's not just the books by Kevin Mitnick. I think he's a brilliant guy, but there is some other books, and maybe later in the bar, if you're really interested in the subject, I can show you some other books that are really good. So why do we do this? Everyone here, I have to assume, knows the CII triangle, right? Confidentiality, integrity, availability, all the security stuff. You know about that, right? Who doesn't? Please leave. No. This is the old-fashioned way to protect your information. You have to make sure that it's confidential. People can't peek into it when it's a secret. It has to be available all the time, because when I have this lecture and it's not available to me, I have a slight problem here. And of course, it has to be solid. The integrity should be, especially with contracts or my salary at the end of the month, it has to be okay. Well, I would approve a slight deviation, but only when it's higher. So this is a problem. This is an old-fashioned thing that doesn't include layer 8 security. And most people, when I did this in the marketing hall, they said, well, there's only 7 layers in the OSI model. Yes, there is, but there is a layer 8. We don't recognize it as such, but I call it layer 8, and I've been doing that for years, because that's the human factor, which is on top of this model, and it's a very real thing. You have to calculate that into everything you do. So another problem is that you can't really get any security measures for your layer 8. There's no such thing as a human firewall, or yeah, maybe you can, you know, like the old-fashioned guys during the World Wars, they had these guys standing behind you, looking at everything you did. Well, that could be some kind of measure, but it's very unpleasant. So these things aren't really for sale. You have to educate people, get them involved, and train them. Also, the people who have a say in what goes in the company, all the directors, all the managers, they are badly informed, and sometimes that's on purpose. I have seen a lot of CEOs really believing that if they bought this product and they put it in their server farm, it will solve all their problems. Yeah, marketeers. So, the previous guy was a marketeer, right? I hope he's not angry with me doing this. So, trust is a very basic thing we all talk about, but this is also a problem. Bruce Schneier, everyone knows the guys, he wrote a book, Liars and Outliers, and the book starts in the first chapter with the issue about trust. If you don't trust people, you can't do anything in this society. You just can't function. If you trust people too much, well, that's also very bad, because they will steal your stuff. So these are the two problems you have. You have to find the balance in between, and that's why we have security. You try to find the best balance there, but you still put a lock on your door, or you protect your privacy, or whatever you do. Now, social engineering, this is actually this is a definition I came up with, and I started with the first lecture I did. It was just one sentence, and after half a year, I thought, well, yeah, it's a little more than that, and probably after 2 years, it will be one full slide, because it's really hard to say what it is actually. It's a psychological thing. You try to get into people their way of thinking. and you manipulate the way they think. It's like being a magician, which is pretty awesome, by the way. So you try to show people the truth, but your truth, not theirs. This is actually what it is, and you try to make them do stupid things in the process. So you can do that because you want some financial gain, because you want some strategic advantage. You want to know what the other one is up to, so you can, in stock trading, this could be very profitable. You could try to influence the outcome of. In a few days, we have this referendum, right? Have you seen the news lately? All these people saying all kinds of things which don't check out. You think, yeah, I don't know. Well, they're all trying to get you to choose a certain standpoint. And yeah, well, I think you should think for yourself and just read up on it and don't have them influence you anyway. And you could do a lot of damage. And this is a little more sophisticated than just ordering 10 pizzas on someone's address. I mean, that's not social engineering, that's childish, but a lot of fun. These are the methods that they use. Have you guys heard about this one? This is a marketing technique, but I still use it. It's you get someone's attention first, and you try to get them interested in the product once you have their attention, because it's very hard to get someone to focus on what you say. Once you have that, get them interested. That leads to the desire to buy your product, and if you do it correctly, they will actually go to action and buy it. This is also a very, very funny one. You can use a time factor. Do it fast. Get it today. Or exclusivity. This is related. Oh, I only have 3 left. Who wants it? Be fast before they're sold out. This prevents people from thinking about what it really is. It makes you decide in a hurry. Makes you make bad decisions. So this is not good. And later on in this talk, I will be talking about where to place your own alarm system. You can really learn how to recognize social engineering. You can do built-in alarm stuff. I talked about my wife. She came in pretty blank. She does something completely different. But nowadays she has an alarm which is pretty fine-tuned. So she sees all the stuff. She recognizes a marketeer a mile away. So this is good. It's possible to learn to see all these things. And maybe this is the start of your layer 8 security system. But you can only get it by getting yourself educated and informed. This is also, I just summed a lot of these things up. I don't know if I should explain them all, but this is a very strong one. People in companies, they do that. If you don't do this, well, you have to consider the consequences, because this is very bad for you if you don't comply. Again, marketeers, people that tell you they're an expert in something. I have this very, very good firewall. I mean, it's so very good. It's 100 kilobit. I've heard this one, really. And I saw a CEO, oh, I gotta have that. This is really bad. So, but this happens every day. You have all this so-called expert coming to companies, selling them all kinds of stuff. And people don't get informed. And the CEOs, they don't care. Say, oh yeah, it protects me, right? I need that. And you work there and you say, well, I think it's, well, what do you know? Well, actually, yeah. So if you're a social engineer, I modified these slides a little because I think most of you are quite technical. You're in the hacking scene or you wouldn't be here. So I wanted to focus a little more on how we do this, how we do the red teaming, how we do the pen testing, and how we try to get people to do stuff. if that's okay with you. It's a little more in-depth than just telling you that marketing is wrong. So what you need is a target. That's the first thing you do need. This could be several different things. You can have a primary goal, primary target, someone you just want to, I want to get this guy. I know he's the CEO, I want him to do something or give me money, or I want to steal his laptop, or whatever you want. That's your primary goal, your primary target. It could also be you have a secondary goal. If you can't get to the CEO, or you can't get to whatever important guy this is, you can try his assistant, secretary, even the people who clean his office. That's a secondary target. You can try to hop from one target to another. You can also use them as a scapegoat. So if you don't want to get caught, this is actually quite a funny story. I know this guy who knows another guy who knows some guy who did a scam with concert tickets. You guys familiar with Pinkpop? It's pretty big. It's a music festival in the south of Holland. And this guy, he is a scam artist. He went to jail for this, so don't try this anytime. Don't do it. What he did was he posted on some forum that he lost his ticket to Pinkpop. And he said, well, we're going there with my entire family. I lost my ticket. Oh, I need a ticket. So I don't care what it costs. I don't care how much. Get me a ticket. So what happened online was that a lot of people saw an opportunity to get him to pay a lot of money. So they said, oh yeah, that's good, man. I've got a ticket for you, 500 euro. Yeah. So at this point, you're wondering who the criminal is, right? So this guy, he says, well, yeah, okay, look, I'm already there. The concert is tomorrow. So could you email me the ticket? And this guy says, no, I'm not going to email you. You know, it's a barcode. You can scan it. I lose my ticket. So no, you pay me first. I said, well, that's good. But I can't do that within this short time frame. So I'm willing to pay you 500 euros, but I don't want to pay 500 euros to someone I don't know. So send me a copy of your identification. You know the story, right? Or you see it happen already. He has this alarm system already. That's good. So this guy sends him a copy of his ID. The guy takes the ID, finishes his business. You should always finish whatever you do. If it's a test or a scam, you should always finish it correctly, or you will be caught. So he calls another guy that responded to his advertisement. He said, yeah, okay, send me the ticket. I can't get the money there on time, but I will send you a copy of my ID. And he did this with 20 guys. So it was a complete circle of people who thought they sold each other all kinds of stuff. And this guy was in the middle collecting all the emails on his Gmail account. And he went to the concert with 20 tickets to sell at the door. So he had a very, very good weekend. So just to say, you know, you can be after a lot of things. If it's money, any materials, it could be abstract information, anything basically, but you get people to comply with you, give you some stuff. And the real trick in this is to make it seem very, very legit. I mean, if someone tells me, look, I'm not going to wire 500 euros to you, I need some kind of, this is very plausible, right? Sounds logical. It isn't, but it sounds very logical. So if you want to hack into a company, as a social engineer, you need the technical guys as well. You do. But as a social engineer, you're more as a catalyst. You try to get leverage into the company. And I've seen teams, red teams, not being able to break in, and by social engineering them into doing something stupid, we could. So this is always very good. The first thing you have to think about as a social engineer is what do they want? What is the best thing that can happen to them today? What is it that will make their entire week, and how can I be a part of that? Of course, totally fake, but I can be a part of it either way. So they could be profit or good standing or efficiency. That's a good one, right? Efficiency. All the companies, they want efficiency. So if you promise them that, that's good. And also I have this 10 kilobit firewall. That's top of the line, man. Golden opportunity. Or they could be just after good standing with their board of directors or stockholders or anything. You just have to figure out what they want. Not only for companies, all the targets you engage, find out what they want first. So if you know that, then you start to collect information. And I think I can skip over this pretty fast because probably most of you are familiar with gathering information. This is what the technical guys also do. They Google, they do the whois queries, they try to get mails. You know the emails where they send it to the entire company and they put them all in the recipient field. That's very clever. But it's a golden source of information, so you really have to be able to look at those things and get a map of what you're attacking. You can also do active reconnaissance. That's a bit of a dirty job sometimes. But if you're a really good social engineer, you get someone to do that for you. That's also a possibility. Of course, these are also technical terms that you're probably familiar with. Scanning, doing some phishing. But you can also, you can observe people, eavesdrop, follow them around, go to the same bar, take the same bus. And I'm really serious about this. I know people, and not directly in the Netherlands, but foreign agencies, and we all know who those are, who talk about stuff in cafeterias. I mean, come on. They just don't look who's there. They have their phone calls and they think, well, the line is encrypted, right? What could happen? Yeah, I could happen. Right next door. So, okay. People don't realize that. So there's a really, and this is, I have to admit, this is creepy. When you just start to do this, it's the first slide, James Bond. It's very, very creepy when you just start to do this. When you really start to follow your target, try to engage with your target and get them to talk, and especially when you actively search for contact, that is, at the start, that's scary. After a while, well, nothing ever happens, so it gets less and less scary. Because people just don't know. If you've done that, if you have everything mapped out and you have a very clear understanding of what's happening, you can go for specifics. Specific targeting. What is this guy's circle of influence? What can he do for me in the company? Who does he know? Who trusts him? Because there's nothing so good as getting in a company, being introduced by the head of security. You're home free if you get that pulled off. If the head of security introduces you in a company, people trust you instantly. So that's kind of the holy grail. You want to try to get that. But there's some other things you can look at in the value of people they can be to you. Another thing I almost forgot, can they be influenced? This is also a factor, of course. If you have this very, very high-level CEO and he can make the world shine and he can do anything you like, but you just can't get him to do it, yeah, it's useless. So you have to measure that alone. And of course the risk. Don't do this in a police station. This is very dangerous. Of course, sometimes you get caught as a social engineer. And when it's a pen test and when there's a red team, you have to get yourself arrested. Because if you start, you guys know about red teaming and pen testing, which are get out of jail free card and stuff like that. We always carry a copy of that, not the original. The original is always at the office with a guy who knows exactly where you are all day. Because if you end up in jail, you will be in jail. And this is trouble. And I have been arrested several times, and that's good. Because then your security measures are in place. It works. You got the social engineer. You didn't get the other guy penetrating your firewall. But that's another story. That's the reason you have to finish your role. You have to really be arrested and be the bad guy and I'm sorry, I'll never do it again, because you don't want to rat on your colleagues. If you start waving your card around, instantly everyone knows there's a test going on and things will be different for your colleagues as well. So if you have all this information, then you have to go and be an actor. Don't be Peter Capaldi, please. No Doctor Who fans? That's good. So you have to ask yourself some things. Who am I and who do I want to be anyway? Just like, let me take a little of this. So if you have chosen your part, the part that you want to play, you have to ask yourself a lot of things because you are really getting into character. And this is more serious than you think. This is more theater than you think. First question is, who am I? What am I going to do? Why should you care? I had this one day where I had this really terrific part and I had everything worked out and all the things that I should fix around it, and everything was perfect. And I went there full of confidence and say, well, I am the guy who's going to make your day. And the other guy said, so what? I don't care. Done deal. Finished. So you can go back and try to get a new role, but that's a bit weird. Because if one day you're the postman and the next day you work at IT in the same company, people will get suspicious. So you have to get another guy in and have to get him to play the part. So this is a very interesting thing to do up front. Why should this guy care about who I am? And as soon as you have that worked out, you can go and create the part. You have to really engineer that. Because if you want to be a journalist, this is very good. You can get a lot of information being a journalist. But just this morning, I was listening to the radio and I heard this topic about an anti-terrorist unit in the Netherlands having all kinds of financial trouble, and they're short on personnel. And the reporter asked a lot of questions about this. And this guy they interviewed said, well, I don't know, I can neither confirm or deny that. But no. And he repeated that the entire time. This was a very boring interview. People don't like press. That's a good thing, because if people screw up and you are the press, they will help you. Because they don't want to get bad publicity, but it's more of a threat than anything else. As a journalist, you can get a lot of information, but you can also get a lot of trouble. People, getting you at a distance, don't want to talk to you. So you have to think about this. If you're a figure of authority, good morning, I'm the auditor. Please show me to your server room. This would be golden, right? They let you in everywhere. They show you the entire company, but they double check. Which is kind of, makes sense, right? So you have to be ready for that as well. Very good thing is to have a team behind you to support your cover, whatever you do. Have this team in place that can vouch for you. Be your colleague or your boss or whatever they have to be at that time. Don't be a cop. Seriously, don't. I mean, I don't know anyone who wants to be a cop in the first place, but don't, because it's a felony and you will get arrested, even when it's a test. I've seen it happen. Luckily it wasn't me, but this guy got into a lot of trouble. So then maybe someone who, delivery guy, comes into the company, does small talk. Then you have to realize that these guys, most of the time, they're locals, and everyone knows them. Good morning, this is your fresh delivery. Hey, where's Jack? Oh, well, he called in sick today. Oh, yeah, better have a good story. It could work, but it could also not, and so you have to be aware of that. So you could be a temp. It's also a good idea, but temps, they don't have any leverage in a company. So if you're just a temp, yeah, right? But it's a good start to get into a company, and sometimes you can really get hired. And there's really big cases I've seen where people actually apply for a job, they get hired, they go in there, work there for maybe even months or a year, and get all the information they want. They place their little bugs, they do all the stuff they should, and then they just quit. The job is done. But this really happens. People go in there and really get hired. So this says something about your process of hiring people, screening people. What should you look for when you have new hires? This is also something in the layer 8 security you really have to be aware of, because it could be me. So I was talking about Peter Capaldi earlier. I don't know who's holding him, but this is what he looks like, basically. If you have this part and you have it all worked out, then you have to get into the details, and please do this. I know a lot of social engineers, and I know a lot of bad social engineers too. And sure, there's some very good ones, but there's some very bad ones as well. And these are the ones that don't do this part. Try to get your part down to the detail. Are you an introvert, extrovert? And for us, we're nerds. So we're mostly introverts, right? It should be very hard for us to pose as a magician or a rock star. I think that would be a trouble. So also look at how you deal with power and hierarchy and all the things that normal people think stuff about, all the stuff they respond to. Are you a chaos type of guy, or very structured, or think about all this. Social class, this is very important. I once did, this wasn't a pen test, this was a contest I entered into. And I had to get a lot of information in a very short time. And I was thinking about my role. And okay, a journalist would be bad, because no one in the company I had to attack would have any use for a journalist. So big chance I wouldn't comply at all. To be an auditor or someone of, that would be too hard for this very short period of preparation time I had. I couldn't do that. So I looked at the company and what they were doing at that point, and they were trying to procure new talent. So, okay, that's the answer to my first question. What do they want? They want new hires. So I'm a student now. And I'm almost finishing my studies, and I need some things to finish up. And to finish my studies, I'm doing research to how people, how they think about their office space, their computers, all things in their office. How do you like your workplace? I'm really doing a lot of research, so maybe you guys could tell me how it's done in your company, and I can write it down. I can finish my research. After that, I graduate and I come work for you. Good story. I was with this point here, right? As a student, you have a certain way of presenting yourself. So I really stop and try to get my head around that. For people who are really, really interested and speak Dutch, I think I might have the audio somewhere from the phone call, the actual call I did in this contest. I hear it's a totally different me. So this is pretty funny. We can do that at a bar if you like. So you could try to derive if you are a guy with a network or just some loner who just passes by. Are you connected? If you are in your role, then you have to get that fixed. So try to you have a very long preparation time then. You have to go to the bars where these people hang out, make friends, and try to really build your network. You can't say that you have a network if you don't. So this is also a thing. And references or proxies. A proxy is a bit different than a reference. A reference, in the practice, a reference is a real person. He can show you where to go and even vouch for you. So I talked to this guy, he's very good. He has this firewall, 10 kilobits, whoa. Proxies, that in our lingo, proxies are non-existing references. So this guy, he told me about your company, the little bald guy with the glasses. What's his name? Probably most of you are thinking about some guy now. Half of you about Dimitri. But in every company, there's some guy fitting that description. Yeah, the guy with the tall with the mustache. What's his name? So, don't do that. It scares me. These are things to consider, and you have to prepare for that. This is a fun story. It's about lingo, and I know this guy who knows a guy. This is getting boring, right? But this is seriously not me. This was a guy that I know, and he went to Maastricht to live there with a girl, and the relationship went south, and it didn't go well for him. So he wanted to go back to Amsterdam, and then you have a problem, because what do you do first? You look for a house, which you can't get because you don't have any money, or you look for a job, which you can't get because you don't live in Amsterdam. You can't commute every day from Maastricht to Amsterdam because you don't have any money. This is a problem, right? So what do? He learned a lot of lingo about the railways. And he bought this very bright yellow jacket. He learned about trains, and maybe some of you know, but trains, they're pretty long, and if they enter a station, the engineer can't see when the last part of the train is inside. He really can't. There's no mirror, or he doesn't know. Of course, we could do something with cameras, but it's the railways. So what do they do? They have these little signs, little square signs with numbers on them, and they put them in the tracks. And the engineer, he can see, if I have 4 carriages, I have to go all the way to number 4, because if I stop there, I know that number 4 is inside. If I have 5, I have to drive a little bit further, because 5 is longer. And this guy, he learned about all these little things where you normally don't think about. So he had his little yellow jacket, and he went to number 2, because the train that was coming in had 2 cars. And he stood there and he started making small talk with the engineers. Oh, you are going to Amsterdam, right? Yeah, going to Amsterdam. Oh, that's well, he had some very interesting lingo. What's a hell of a track? It's a 2-hour drive. Oh, have you tried to go to the toilet when you're halfway? How do you do that? And this station sucks, and this station. Well, he had a lot of talk with this guy. He said, I have to go to Amsterdam. You mind if I drive along? He said, no problem at all. Just come get in front with me and we'll talk a little bit more. He has been doing that for 3 years. Every day. went from Maastricht to Amsterdam. He got a job in Amsterdam. So, he didn't need to commute anymore, and he got arrested. For something entirely different, by the way. Fun thing is that all the guys at the railways started asking, hey, where's this guy? The nice colleague with the small yellow jacket, the friendly guy. I haven't seen him in a while. The police got this guy. He got arrested for something different. Get him from falling asleep. And this guy was actually very popular. The police got him, they arrested him, and they said, apart from the fact that we arrested you for, there's always also this very high fine for, not paying for your train fare. He said, what do you mean? You have to pay to travel by train. So, no, I was invited. And seriously, this guy invited me. I don't have to buy it. He just asked him very politely, and he said it was okay. And then something really interesting happened. The police guy said, that's because you tried to pass for an employee of the railway. He said, no, I didn't. You just tell me when I told anyone that I worked as a railway. I didn't. And it's true, he didn't. This guy just assumed, with his funny little yellow jacket, and talking about trains all day, that it was a colleague, which he wasn't. Well, that's not his fault, right? So I got a lot of these stories, by the way. So if I bore you or you want a break, just tell me, okay? Let me see. I'll just keep watching Dimitri, okay? You just flag me when I go, on too long. So try to get in people their head. If you can, try to, just get in the process. Go to the railway, sit there, just look at how they work, talk to them. If you want to infiltrate a company, go to another department or another building and try to get people there to talk to you. Also, you should prepare for being there a while. Sometimes this can go very, very fast. Sometimes this will take a while. So prepare for that. And of course, if it takes half a year, most of us will just... But there is stories about social engineers that get into serious relationship, and I mean really romantic relationships, and passing them on for 2 or 3 years. That's hardcore stuff. I wouldn't do that, ever. Okay, so... Okay, so if you need disguises, don't use stuff that can smudge off or fall off, or we all know the comedies with Inspector Clouseau and his mustache falling off, right? Don't do that. That's stupid. You could use glasses. That's authentic, and you could put them on or off, and it's not suspicious if but that's pretty normal. But if your mustache falls off all of a sudden, then it's really stupid. Also watch for things where they can recognize you by. Tattoos, birthmarks, stuff like that. Because you will be recognized next time when you play another role. This is very annoying. Then there's some practical stuff. Well, I can skip over this pretty fast because you guys probably all know how to infect a USB drive and place it somewhere, right? The very, very famous story of the USB drive on the parking lot. People find it, hey, problem. We actually did some research to this. The USB key, this story got more famous than we wanted to. So the success rate dropped till, I think, 30% maybe. That was annoying, so we wanted it back up. So I went home one day and had this USB stick that backfired, and I took it home and I thought, why didn't it work? People shouldn't be so smart. So I tried to enhance my USB key, and one of the things I did try was put a key ring on it. with some keys. I had some spare keys from, I moved house a short time before that, so I had some spare keys I didn't use for anything anymore. So I put them on this USB with a key ring, and that screams urgent, right? Someone lost his keys. You need to return it. Okay, that got the success rate up to 50, maybe 60%. But we wanted it higher. The final step we did was we put a very little cute pink bunny rabbit on the keychain. That screamed, girl. Any nerd will know. Yeah. I was going to say something else, but yeah. You want to put it in an undeleting program and see what the hell was on there. Yeah, that's interesting. So, no, but the success rate went up 90%. When we started doing that, it almost never failed after that. So if you see a USB key with a little bunny on it and keys, it belongs to me. Please return it. So there's some practical problems. When you place a keylogger, these are all technical terms, so I can, skip over them pretty fast, right? If you place a keylogger, which is a physical device, you have to, at some point, go and retrieve it. Be aware of that. And also be aware that it might have been found in the process, and people will be watching for you to return to get it. So be very careful with that. These are practical things from, best practices. All stuff people got caught with. Also, don't do this. If you have a USB key and you want to put some malware on it to infect the computer, and especially if you're a bad guy doing it, which you would never, of course, wipe it beforehand. Because nothing will be so frustrating and annoying if the forensic lab will be investigating your drive and there will be, something you used for your school or education with your name on it, and that is, yeah, but I threw it in the trash, right? No, you didn't. So think of, excuse me? Yeah, also naked picture. The forensics guy loved them too, so that's why they do that. And a very stupid thing, a colleague of mine, he got caught with this. He was hunting for information inside a company, and he took pictures of whiteboards, stuff being in the hallway, bulletins on the wall, room numbers, phone numbers, and he wanted to take pictures with his smartphone, and he forgot to turn off the shutter sound. Stupid. Yeah, the flash, well. Yeah, videos could be good, but yeah, that works pretty well. But also, a video also has a shutter sound. Yes, mostly it has some kind of bleep when you press it, so you have to be aware with that as well. It means only one bleep. It's very annoying if you do this and you bleep and you walk with it, and there's all kinds of people around you, and you have to stop it at some point. This is very annoying. Okay, well, I'll talk to you later. Bleep. Good work. Good work. I told you about this, the little bunny on the keychain. All kinds of keyloggers you can use to spy on people. If you can get one, try to get one of these adapters from USB to old-fashioned keyboard or the other way around, and because people won't suspect it. It's good, right? They're a little harder to come by, but if you get one, they are very, very good, because people just... Well, I wouldn't recognize it. I just make sure that I don't have to use an adapter anytime, but that's because I'm aware of this. This is a very normal thing to have in your PC, right? And rubber duckies, you know, the little USB keys that can do a lot of typing very fast because they're actually keyboards. Also very, very convenient to attack people. This is also a thing that happens a lot. Social engineers panicking. If someone comes up with a very hard question, and you did a lot of study and a lot of preparation, and you really got into the part, and someone says, "Oh well, do you know about?" And you think, "Oh fuck, no, I don't." This is not always bad because you can't be expected to know everything. And a very simple answer is, I don't know, I can look it up for you, or I can just ask this guy. I'll get back to you on that. But stay in the part and try to stay relaxed, even if you have a heartbeat, you know, because they will scare you at some point. Oh yeah, marketeers again. Stay realistic. No one smiles all day. No one. Really. So we talked about time, you know, do it fast. In the Netherlands, I can't be more annoyed about these radio commercials. We have the word snel for fast. It rhymes with .nl. Fuck those commercials, really. So, okay, so yeah, time. Time is a powerful point to apply pressure, but don't do it, you know. That's for marketeers. You have very sophisticated ways to do stuff. If you pass for something or someone, make sure they can verify it some way. And really, I told you before, it's very good to have a team behind you. Do that. Try to get a team. And normally when you do a pen test in a company or when you're with an official red team, they can help you. These technical guys, they can build a website in 3 seconds. So why not have a website? Checks you out as being totally valid, you know. This is a very good one. And I think this made me win the contest where I entered. This target, the guy that turned into my target, he tried to contact me. This was a marketeer from the company. He said, "Oh yeah, you were here with the contest and you've been looking here all day, and do you want to participate?" I said, "No, of course not. Social engineering, what is that? I don't know how to do that." He said, "Well, it's just for fun, and come on, and let's play." I said, "Well, okay, I don't know, yeah, maybe, yeah, I won." So if people approach you, they're one step behind all the time, because they will never suspect you to be, you know, the guy you turn out to be. And this is also very good advice: never change your part when a test is running. This sounds very stupid, but I've seen it happen. People that, you know, they are the delivery guy, and suddenly they are someone totally different because their first strategy didn't work or didn't work enough. And this will surely get you caught because it's messy and you can't fix that. So, this turned out to be a little longer than I thought. Still have time? 10 minutes? You guys still awake? You mind if I just ramble on, or I'll be at the bar later as well, so you can buy me a drink for free. Okay. No, you don't need to. I have my wife with me. So people love to talk about what they think is important. It's the sole reason that I'm here. People just like to talk about stuff they think is important. A lot of people think they are very important as well. So people talk about themselves, if you combine the top two. And that's good, because that's exactly the information you want. You want people to talk about themselves. Tell me everything about you so I can exploit it. This is also very nice when people tend to be helpful. This could also be bad, but you should try to leverage that in your advantage. I don't like people to be helpful. For example, when I'm in a company and I'm making my way through the hallways, taking pictures of everything, and someone says, "Hey, can I help you?" No, go away, please. On the other hand, you can use this help to do all kinds of stuff. People don't like trouble, so what I said earlier, consequences, this is not a very nice thing. This works a lot for me. When I go to a company and people say, "Well, no, I can't let you in because procedure and blah, blah, well, you don't have a pass and you can't." So, okay, well then you just tell your boss that I was here and now I'm not. Bye-bye. He said, no, wait. Wait, just wait over there. I'll fix something for you. People don't like consequences. For example, angry boss or stuff like that. They tend to see chances before threats also. So people are kind of greedy sometimes. So if you present them with some kind of opportunity, they will not think about a threat before they get it very clearly in their sight. So this is, and we heard, right? This is such a problem. I am telling all my friends they should use Signal instead of WhatsApp. They don't. Yeah, all my friends, they're on WhatsApp. Oh, it's a hassle to... Yeah, but you should tell all your friends to do the same, right? Listen to the words of George Thorwald. He knows best. Don't do that. But people hurt, I still have to carry WhatsApp because my dad... He won't go to Signal. I tried. He doesn't. Yeah, all my friends. You don't have any friends. Yes, I do. Okay. So, building rapport. This is getting people to like you. This is a very fancy phrase for getting people to like you. How do you do that? Yeah, you can bring flowers, of course. But there's maybe this is a bit too far for the time that I've left, because this is kind of goes really in depth. Any of you guys familiar with NLP? Okay, if you read up on that, you can see rapport is a very big thing, and all the ways to build rapport are in there. So you can quite easily get people to like you, help you, and do stuff you want them to do. This is very interesting. This is very interesting. And the 3-second rule. This is a very easy one. People don't like to be interrupted. So if someone's talking, just wait 3 seconds when he's done. And if after 3 seconds he hasn't started talking again, then he's really done. And so this is for you, my dear. No, just kidding. She's very sweet. But this is a very, very easy one to get rapport. People like good listeners. So if you do this is instant rapport. Also the mirroring part, but don't try to mimic everything because you will look very stupid. But read up in NLP. This is, if you want to know more about this, or you can find me here over the weekend and we talk some more about it. But this is a very interesting area. And realize that you always communicate. It's just not possible to not communicate at all. Even if you say, okay, I'll stop communicating. Yeah, that says something, right? So, this is a dirty little trick. We're back at the original lecture, so we're almost done, I think. This is a dirty little trick companies like to pull on us. I live in the area of Utrecht, where you have this fuel station, and they did this. And they did that in the middle 2 lanes, where if you can get to these things if you want to, but then you have to go all the way to the left or all the way to the right. You have to really know that they're still there. These are the very convenient ones. These are the very expensive ones. Be careful with this. We see this more and more. Just people trying to, limit your opportunity. Yeah, just drive by really fast. but be careful with the cameras. I actually went in there and I what the fuck? Yeah, I don't know. You want some gum? Fuel stations, right? So, okay, I've talked about this already. Well, this is pretty obvious. The guys that do this in real life were not only pen testers, but some of the social engineers. They try to scam you out of your concert tickets. They can be salesmen, they can be saboteurs, angry ex-girlfriends, whatever. You see them all. And sadly, also the people who run stuff, politicians, not always very, no, I'm not going to go there. Okay, so this is I think one of the last slides I have for you. The Dutch will probably see what it says. For the others, I'll translate. Fooling You is a Chinese philosopher on social engineering. Actually, he's me. Says, criminals, they have a new way of scamming you out of a lot of money. If you give me 1,200 euros, I'll tell you everything about it. And the question with this is an actual tweet that I posted some while ago. The question here is this really a scam? Or would you invest 1,200 euros for an expert to tell you that a firewall with 1,000 kilobit is bullshit? I think that would be well worth the money. So who's the criminal in this story? It's a philosopher, I told you, right? So bottom line, I'm actually pretty good, right? 1 minute. Dare to be, be critical. Always ask yourself, what's going on? Who's this guy? What does he want? And try to recognize some of the techniques that I talked about here. I'll try to, through Dimitri, but I also see there's video there. Hi. To get the slides to you guys if you want to have them. This is maybe the best advice that I can give you for today. Try to recognize all these pressure points. Time constraints, exclusivity, all the things around it. Get your own alarm system in place. Challenge people to think for themselves. Don't try with my dad because he won't. Recognize when they try to apply the pressure, and please, if you look at the previous, do this. Call Brenno de Winter and ask him, even if he asks you for some money before, it may be worth it. He's not a criminal. I keep telling my boss that. Okay, so you know my boss, right? In the early days, if you knew all the answers, then you were a very wise guy, Nowadays, I think if you know how to ask the right questions, you are a wise guy. So shoot. 3, 2, 1, done.
What's your horror story? When did it go wrong?
Oh, it went horribly wrong a few times. Well, I have some really cool success stories as well. No. Sometimes it goes so horribly wrong. But these stories are basically all the same. You get arrested, and the horror story, maybe the worst horror story was that I was in there for quite some time before people actually came with my get out of jail card and got me out of there. I was in jail for quite some time with a very unfriendly police guy because, he hated the fact that I told him so. So he was kind of, this wasn't fun. But I think stories may be better at the bar because there's some people waiting to go to the bar, I think. Unless you have questions or really want to hear some stories. I thought so.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Marcel, for your interesting talk about social engineering.